Cigars right to your doorstep at America's lowest price. Famous started out as a small shop in New York City. Now we're putting our 80 years experience in the business to work making deals on the cigars you love, from wallet-friendly everyday smokes to high-end luxury cigars to mark a lifetime achievement. Let us show you this exclusive Famous offer. Go to FamousSmoke.com and pick from more than 8,000 cigar brands, fresh and ready to ship from our client-controlled 24,000 square foot humidor. Then check out with the promo code 24U. That's 20FORYLU, and we'll take $20 off your order of $99 or more. Every purchase you make is backed by our Famous Freshness Guarantee. Get real cigars from a real cigar shop and save $20. Now with the promo code 24U. Shipped direct to you from FamousSmoke.com. That's FamousSmoke.com.
Hey, thanks for coming back. I mean, Joe hung out because he thought he was going to be fed and watered, but that's not that kind of six-pack, Joe.
Just made him sound like a horse.
Well, I heard six-pack, and here I am up in Boston, so I'm figuring it's going to be Sam Adams.
Exactly what I was thinking. And there's a commercial. There's a great commercial on right now. It's like, I'm Joe from Boston. Of course I brought Sam Adams.
Right.
All right, Joe, I've got a six-pack of questions for you. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Putting you on the hot seat. Question 1. What's the one thing you can't live without on a golf course?
One thing I can't live without on the golf course is my 7-iron. Boy, I'd be lost without that 7-iron.
See, I like the honest answer as opposed to a beer, my best friend, blah, blah, blah. My 7-iron. Without that, I got nothing. Question 2. Living or dead, who would you like to play a round of golf with?
Donald Ross.
Cool.
Without a doubt. I would love to play one of the Ross courses, either in Pinehurst or on Cape Cod, with Donald Ross.
Yep.
So I could look at him and say, what the hell were you thinking?
Yeah. Can't you please just make one green flat?
Oh, I know. When we played Pinehurst number 2, I missed the green on the first hole by about 10 feet. My caddy said, putt it. I was like, are you crazy? Took my wedge out, tried to hit my wedge on there. I looked at him. I said, all right, I'll putt from now on.
Yeah.
From now on, whatever you say. Question 3. Most golfers remember one hole or one round that they played that far exceeded their ability. What's one that you recall?
Far exceeded my ability. I would have to say I could go with Mark Calcavecchia and say the 17th hole at Kiowa Island, the par 3 that, if you recall, in the Ryder Cup, the War at the Shore, that he knocked it in the water on that hole. And I bailed out so far left that I don't think I was any closer to the green with my second shot as I was with my tee shot.
Question 4. What's your favorite golf word or golf expression?
Oh, boy. Probably, and it drives my friend crazy because he gets so annoyed when I do this. But do you remember the whole Hal Sutton, be the right club today?
Oh, yeah.
My best friend hates that term so much. So as you can imagine, I use it every chance I get.
I like that. I'm going to steal that. I hadn't thought about that in a long time. Be the right club today.
And I heard a funny story about this. I didn't know this, but the reason he said that was right before he played that tournament, he got fitted for new irons. So he wasn't quite sure of the numbers on his irons. So that's why he said that.
Very cool.
Look, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Question 5. What's the most embarrassing thing to ever happen to you on the course?
Embarrassing thing that ever happened to me on the course would have to be, we were playing a course in Myrtle Beach. There's a par 3 on the course, and you hit over a burial ground, tee to green. Well, of course, one of my best friends topped his ball in there and decided he would go in there and hit out of there.
Oof.
And of course, as he walked in there with the club in his hands, the ranger came over the hill behind us and said, what the hell is he doing in there? And the only thing I could think to say was, he was a preacher and he was in there blessing everyone in the burial ground. So that was probably the most embarrassing moment. Yeah.
Did the ranger buy it, man?
Well, he kept driving, so that was all right.
There you go. It's a burial ground. People are dying to get in. Sorry. Question 6, and we ask this to all our guests. In your approach to life, since we are the approach shot, what one rule do you live by?
Don't take anything too seriously. I mean, you can't. I mean, things can change on a dime. Something that could be important today And someone said this to me years ago. Look at something and say to yourself, a year from now, is this going to matter? And that's kind of what I do. I kind of step back and look at things and say, all right, so a year from now, is this spot that I don't have grass in my backyard really going to matter?
Very nice. You did quite well, my friend. Thank you.
That was a lot of fun.
That's
You are off the hot seat.
Good.
Joe Fellini, man. When I grow up, I want to be you.
Yeah,
You know?
I want to be your brother.
You want to be my best friend because then you're on all the golf trips.
Well, I want you to set up my. It's funny that you said it because my wife and I want to go exactly to the two places you talked to Florence and Tuscany. So I'll be calling you about that.
That'd be great. You can't beat it. You just can't beat all of Italy. And the cool thing about Italy, real quick, is that every place you go is different because a lot of people don't know that the United States is 100 years older than Italy as a country. Yes. And before in the early 1800s, Italy was just they were all their own little countries, Venice, Florence, Rome. So everything's so different. I mean, the food's different, the culture's different, the language is a little different. So yeah. Italy's just such a cool place to go to.
John, what do you think my wife will say if I tell her I'm bringing golf clubs?
She's going to Italy where she wants to go?
Yeah.
Tell her to shut up.
You know what? You tell her that. I think I'll come up with something better.
No problem.
Much better idea.
And Joe, I just want to let you know that I have friends at the Pete Dye course at French Lick. So you want to go, you get in touch with me. I can make it happen.
That'd be great. And see, this is how this list gets to 380.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly
I know somebody
right.
who knows somebody who knows somebody, without a doubt.
Yeah.
400 by the end of the year.
And do you know that the city-owned golf course in Lexington, Kentucky, Kearney Hills, is a Pete Dye golf course?
Unbelievable.
It costs $29 to play there.
Did the guy have a house anywhere, or did he just just a nomad?
He lived in Indiana, so around the Indiana area, man, he was he had a lot of stuff. But
right.
Yeah, but for the most part, I think he just lived in a tent on golf courses.
And if you haven't been down there, you got to get to Pinehurst. We did Pinehurst last year. Remember, I told you we were supposed to go to Ireland. Mm-hmm. We postponed the trip, and I said, "Okay, where do you want to go?" Pinehurst enough. Let's go there.
Hey guys, are you wedding ring shopping, or do you remember when you were? It was and should have been all about your wife. But what about you? I'm guessing not so much, or even who cares? Well, that means you don't know about Manly Bands. Manly Bands are the coolest rings for men, made out of materials like tungsten, wood, dinosaur bone, antler, and even gold. Well, when I say these things are cool, I'm talking about rings from their MLB collection or the Jack Daniel's Whiskey Barrel collection, to name a few. And golfers, check out the Double Eagle in the Manly Band Sports Collection, made of cobalt chrome. It's perfect for any golfer. And if you're married and have a ring already, get another one. You don't own just one ball cap, do you? Here's a special offer for listeners of The Approach Shot. Order your Manly Band and get 21% off plus a free silicone ring. Just go to manlybands.com/approach. That's manlybands.com/approach for 21% off. Manly Bands, the best damn rings, period.
And now, it's time for...
Golf is a funny game.
Back to your hosts, John Ashton and Neil Michaels.
Once again, Mr. Big Voice, and has told you that it is time for Golf is a Funny Game.
Which is no lie, because this is the point where we're funny from here on. The first, 30 minutes of the show, not so much. But you know,
what you
now,
mean we?
We actually have it in... I'll ignore that. We actually have it in the title of the segment.
We do.
Because, Jeremy Nunes is here, and we can actually hand off the funny baton to somebody who does this for a living. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I am stoked.
Yeah, that makes three of us, because every time we have somebody on in this segment, I have a tendency, I know John does too, but I have a tendency to watch some of your stuff. And a couple of hours ago, I was watching some of your dry bar comedy, had to find tissues for the stuff. Just great stuff. And I greeted you a minute ago as the only comedian mayor that we've ever had on. But that actually happened.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, so I ran for office as a joke. I got my name on the ballot as comedian Jeremy Nunes, and my campaign slogan was, "Put a real joker in office."
Which, has been done before, but never advertised.
Yes. And so, of course, I thought, well, if I'm doing this so obviously that it's obviously a joke to me, no one's going to vote for me and, I'll go about my business. But of course, that didn't work out. I won with 80% of the vote.
And what town was this?
So it's Dawson, Illinois. And Dawson is sits just outside of Springfield, Illinois, sort of right smack dab in the middle of the state. I tried to get a new hashtag trending. Dawson is Dawsome. It did not catch on, surprisingly. Largely because most people didn't know how to spell awesome.
So did you ever serve, or did you just say, hey, it was a joke, I'm out of here?
No, I served. Right. I really did. So yeah, that's what the book's about, which I'm sure get to later. But I just basically have all these stories of all these ridiculous things that happened when I was mayor that everybody thought was so funny. So I threw them into a book, and I'd always wanted to write the book, but I never knew if I'd have time, And then of course COVID happened and everything shut down. Didn't have any shows, so then I had all the time in the world to put everything together. What else was I going to do? Spend time with my family?
Jeez, not if I can help it. I know the feeling.
It's great for the first month or so, and then you're like, oh, you're still here.
That's where the golf came in handy.
That's right.
There you go.
Well, not to jump ahead into the book, but what other excerpts from the book do you want to tell us about before people go lay down their hard-earned money for it?
So it's called You Can't Write City Hall, a play on You Can't Fight City Hall. So because you can't make this stuff up, you can't write it. So you can't write City Hall. So it's all these hilarious things that happen to me. So I'll tell you one of the stories. So you're one of the things you do as a small town mayor, you're juggling the complainers all the time. Mm-hmm. And as a small town mayor, you wear all the hats that are full-time jobs in bigger cities. So as the small town mayor, I was the chief of police, the health inspector, animal control officer, building inspector, liquor commissioner. Okay. And it goes on and on. So we have an abandoned house in the town, believe it or not, an abandoned house in a small town. And this guy lived next door to it. He'd had enough because a family of skunks had taken over the small town house. And so he's like, Jeremy, you got to get in there and get the skunks out of here. I was like, I'm not really, equipped to do that. He's like, well, you're the animal control officer. You need to get them. And I was like, I don't want to. I'd rather call county. They know what they're doing. And he's like, well, you're also chief of police. You've got a gun. Go in there and shoot the skunks. And so,
nothing could go wrong with that scenario.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm just not comfortable doing it. And he's like, hey, my taxes pay for better. And I was like, well, I hardly think you pay your taxes.
I can imagine an argument between the chief of police and the animal control guy. Back and forth. Now, Jeremy, you're going to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. But Jeremy, you should do that. You could probably start drinking pretty heavily after that.
Did you have like all the official vehicles for all the different departments you were the head of?
No, we did have a couple department vehicles that, I regularly got complaints. So we had 2 work trucks with, proudly displayed Village of Dawson on them. Mm-hmm. Biggest complaint, guy called me one day, Tuesday afternoon at like 12:15. Hey, the village truck is over at the diner. Well, I don't want to know why these guys aren't working. They're hanging out. I was like, is it possible they're at lunch? So why do these guys get a lunch break?
I don't know. Call the chief of police.
Yeah.
You're also labor commissioner too, though. So
yeah. So yeah, I would negotiate the labor contract, which never happened.
So after 4 years, Mr. Mayor, did you decide you didn't want to do this again?
Well, I'll tell you, I was mayor for years and years. I won't reveal the terms of what happened, how long I was mayor and sort of the resolution, because that's kind of the build of the book. I don't want to give that away. But
Gotcha.
When I was sworn in, and I didn't think of this until my proofreader brought it up, but I'm laying out the night I'm sworn into office, and my mom and my sister and my wife are all there. And the proofreader said, well, you don't mention why you're